Hey, Freedom Team. Happy Monday Night Live. I'm pretty pumped to have my good friend Alita on with us tonight. For those of you that don't know, she's currently traveling for her daughter's sweet 16 birthday. So the fact that she is coming to pour into us makes me love her even more. Alita and I met, I guess it's been a couple of years now, but I was scared to death because she's way cooler than I am, y'all, and has been crazy successful for so much longer than I have. So I didn't even know if she would know who I was. I was thrilled when she did. And who the heck muted me? She's brilliant. And what I love about Alita and her journey is she's been through some stuff, lots of stuff. And man, adversity, if it's even possible, made her even more beautiful, even more successful, even more driven, just resilience. Diamonds are made under pressure. And Alita has had like 12 people's fair share, and she's still here and has come out on the other side just brighter than ever. I mean, I'm just so amazed and impressed and encouraged by her. So Alita, take it away, girl.
Okay, can you introduce me everywhere I go? Like, just be it and come and tell my kids what you think. Like, what?
Line up, children.
So honored that you want me to come and share my story. I'm so honored to be here. I freaking love how many people have their videos on tonight, because I think that just shows just excitement and commitment for where you want to go. So I also just want to say thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you for showing up for you. Thank you for showing up to come and hear a little bit of my story. I hope it relates to some part of your heart, maybe tugs on you a little bit to just build your belief to the next level. Because once upon a time, there were diamonds that hopped on Jen Lee's calls that did the same for me. And I am eternally, forever grateful. I'm always telling Jen Lee, like, I love you so much. Thank you so much for never giving up on me. So my name is Alita. We have 8 kids. I'm pregnant with our 9th, which is crazy town. And I am living my absolute dream life. That was not always the case. I remember literally begging God, like, can you not just like throw a sister diamond here? Like, what is going on? So my story is not one of where I, just posted one day and just flew to the top of the company. I had to climb Mount Everest. And I love using that analogy, because when you go to a mountain, right? I'm going to go right into this. When you come to show up to climb a mountain and your guide is there and you're thinking about, I want to go to the top of this company. So who on here wants to be diamond? If you want to be a diamond and you're like, I'm sold out, I'm all in, I want you to drop a 1 in the comments. I want you to vocalize it out loud to whoever's in the room with you. Be like, I'm going diamond. Like, I'm going to the top of this mountain. That's where I started this business. I wanted to go all in. That's just my personality. I'm like, I'm all in or I'm all out. I was all out for a long time, 18 months. Jennifer Leaf messaged me and really wanted to just, she bought a cow for me. She bought coffee for me. She was like, please be on my team. I'm like, you're crazy. And then she started driving a Lexus car. And I saw her move to a bigger house. I was like, are you selling drugs? You can tell me the truth. Like, what is going on? What are you doing? I need to know right now. So she was like, you've got to try these products. And so that's kind of where I started. And I saw what was possible. And I was all in. I'm literally in Jen Lee's diamond documentary. I had just hit gold. And you would think that I'm like, I'm acting like I'm a diamond. Like, she believes in me so much. Like, I love her so much. Like, I'm so thankful for my success. I was so like bought in. And then now, like, what I love to think about is kind of going to the mountain and preparing myself to climb to the top of the mountain. And I don't know what to expect, right? You show up, and you're like, okay, I've got this awesome guy. I got a great coach. I got someone who's done this before, who's at least a little bit ahead of me, right? Maybe it's only a day or 2, whatever, but they've already climbed it. And I'm going to listen to the people who've already done where I want to go, done where I want to be. What I didn't know to expect, and the thing that has been my most amazing gift to my life, is understanding how to overcome resilience. One of my most favorite movies that I watched last year was Rocky Balboa. And y'all are probably like, what are you even talking about right now? There is something about an underdog story that gets me absolutely fired up, because what happens in an underdog story is we don't fall in love with their struggle, right? We don't fall in love when they're just in the valley, in the pit of despair. We're not just like, oh, I love this part. We love that feeling of watching someone persevere and push through and know they can make it to the next step. They just show up and they start doing the thing. And I think we overcomplicate things all the time by thinking, how do I win the victory? Instead of realizing, how do I just start climbing this mountain? How do I just start training for this fight? Rocky didn't wake up one morning and be like, I'm about to go in and win this game, win this match against this guy who's world champion. And I've never even boxed in an actual match before. He got up and drank raw eggs. He did some hard, gross things. He got up, he put on his sweats, and he ran to the top of those stairs in Philly. And he was like, and we can watch as he's training. What happens? We start to get inspired. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I love a good sports movie, right? You start to get inspired when you see people persevering and pushing through, because win or lose at that point, they're making movement forward, and that's freaking inspiring to people we're used to just being told to stay where we are at. So I joined Plexus about 8 months into my journey. My husband unexpectedly passes away. He had some heart issues, he had an aneurysm, and he just didn't come home from work one night. And I had 4 little kids. They were 6 and under. My son would turn 7 on Father's Day, 9 days after my husband passed away. And we had no life insurance. I was 32 years old. I had a nursing baby. And listen, like, I'm Canadian. So I didn't even I had a green card. I wasn't even a citizen yet. I never worked in America, and I'm a musician anyway. So my skill is basically I cost money. Like I'm not going to be bringing money into this house. And we had a full functioning farm. So I'm widowed. I have 4 little kids. I'm making a couple thousand a month with Plexus, which literally saved my life. Like, I'm not exaggerating. That changed everything for me. There was no expectation. Jennifer never came after me being like, your life's about to crazy change and you're going to need this income opportunity. But she just kept coming after me and telling me I could do this. So there I am. I'm Ruby. I'm, scared. I don't know what's going to happen. And I will never forget. I woke up about 2 mornings after all this had happened. And I looked outside my window and I was like, I'm at a crossroads. And maybe tonight you haven't had trauma or tragedy happen to you, but you feel like I've got to make a real decision. Like, not just one toe in, one toe out. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Maybe I'll climb the mountain, maybe I won't. I'm going to show up with expectation that my family deserves the best I have. I'm going to show up with expectation that nothing is going to stop me. So I literally made that decision. I'm like, I'm going to walk this out with as much humility and grace and victory as I can. So I load my kids up. Okay, so their dad has died 2 days ago. I'm like, get in the Suburban. I drive down to Lowe's and I'm like, I can't afford a dry erase board. Like, they're $1 million, right? Like, I'm like, I can't afford this. I go in and I'm like, I need something that I can use a dry erase marker on. And he's like, well, tub towel will work great. So he cuts me this massive sheet. I covered my entire master bedroom wall with this tub tile. Now, I'm not saying to go into form your rooms. I'm not saying you have to do that. I took some kind of power tool. This day, I have no idea what it was. It was a nail gun, a staple gun, some kind of thing. And I just hung this thing up. I just shot stuff into it till it stayed. And I wrote down everything I wanted to be. Because I realized 2 things. Ain't nobody gonna be knocking on my door cheering for me, because they're gonna feel sorry for me. They're gonna be like, oh, you should stay home. You shouldn't do these things. You should, all these things. And I also knew my kids needed me to rise up. My kids needed me to be the leader of our home. They needed me to be the leader of our finances. Like, it was on my shoulder and I better figure it out. So I wrote down everything. I am victorious, right? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So I wrote down some scriptures that aligns with me, might not with you, that's okay. I wrote down, I'm a diamond. People are inspired by my story. My children rise up and call me blessed. They're like, dang, mom, like that was a big thing for me. I'm like, I want them to know that I'm doing the things. And I read this every single morning because I would wake up and I would look at it. So even on hard mornings, and listen, there were many hard mornings. Like, I want you to picture you're climbing the mountain and you get up to, kind of almost midpoint. You're like, okay, like I can do this. I can do this. I had a little bit of momentum. I was excited. I had a couple leaders. My husband dies. So a storm hits. I'm getting pelted with ice cubes. Everything's falling apart. I'm getting drenched. My clothes are wet. My backpack. I feel like I'm losing the tools I came with, right? But I trusted my guide. I trusted my coach. I was coachable and I continued to show up. I let myself kind of go into the tent, so to speak, change my clothes, regroup. But I always showed up. I showed up every day. And I showed up in the mindset of where I wanted to be. You guys need to hear me on this. I didn't show up in where I was. I showed up with who I wanted to be. And I was able to show up authentically. It's probably the biggest question I get. It's like, how did you keep sharing plexus when people are like, your husband literally just died, right? Like, you're like, here. I didn't go on Facebook and be like, here's my paint drink. Like, wow, I've never felt better. Because that's not true for me. But what I did say was, this is getting me through. This is helping me. This is providing me with community. This is providing my heart with people who love me. This is providing my body with all the nutrients, the extra supplements that I need through this time. That's where I was sharing. You can always share from an authentic place, even in tragedy, even when things are looking hard. It's like, oh, I don't want to share this part because what if people think X, Y, Z? Everything that I feared was off the table. When you think about what you would do in my shoes, you be like, I don't give two, you know what I'm saying, what people think about me, because I've got to put food on the table for my kids. I've got to provide for these people. I've got to get to that next place. And so when that went out the window, something really special happened. I just got to this new place very quickly. I got to this new sort of headspace where it was just like, I am victorious. And I operated from that place as much as I possibly could. I listened to motivational videos. I just did all the things you hear to do. I actually just did them every single day. Like, it was my lifeline. Like, it was what's going to push me through. So 4 months later, I hit Emerald. My mom was the last order in because my family was like, this is crazy. What are you doing? And my mom was supportive, but she never ordered. She ordered. So I went Emerald. The next 2 months later, she passed away from pancreatic cancer. So I'm in Canada with my 4 little kids, my first Christmas widowed. It's my last Christmas with my amazing best friend mom. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, how is this happening to me? Like, I'm not the person that this happens to. I don't get it, right? And it was so sweet because in that valley, I learned that my biggest, hardest struggles were my most refining moments of my entire life, and have led me to who I am now. And I'm not even close to the same person. And when I allowed that to realize, like, I remember just hearing over and over and over, it was like, what comes to discourage you is here to develop you. I'm like, okay, this feels really freaking discouraging and I feel defeated, but I know that it's here to develop me. And so how can you take all this trauma, right, and be like, how do I relate this to Alita's story? This is what I want you to take away. Not to compare, not to feel like, oh, my heart's not as hard as hers. Why can't I get my act together? Because I get it. I was there too. I was married doing this like a normal person. Everybody was alive when I started, right? And I know that the struggle is real and the fear is real. But what would happen if you gave yourself permission to really just let go of that and dream of a life that you actually wanted? Tara Castaneda, I went to a convention breakout session and she had us write down a couple of things. How much money do you want to earn a month? And then she said, I want you to double it. And then she said, who are the 4 people on your team that you would just be ecstatic? Maybe they haven't joined you yet. Maybe they're already on your team, but that they were the emeralds on your team that took you to that place. They were the diamonds on your team that took you to that place. And I went from there, and I also wrote down for my personal life. I wanted to remarry. You know, my late husband was precious. We had many conversations. He prayed that over me and my kids, that I would remarry, you know, all of these things. And so I'd written that down, and I really wanted a bridge baby to be able to get married. And so I started thinking like, well, time's really ticking here for me. Like things are not going like I thought they would. So I'm widowed for 3 years. I'm orphaned. My dad dies the next year. And I'm thinking, this is not working out. So everything that I'm hoping is happening, everything I'm showing up for, doesn't necessarily just unfold magically, right? It doesn't just because I show up for, you know, a week that things are just going to improve. I had to consistently show up because this is the most convoluted thing to explain, because it wasn't about what I was doing, it's who I was becoming. And if I'm just becoming, if I'm just doing something to do it, right? And I'm attached to this sort of, well, I have to hit this rank for it to really mean it matters. Now I'm attaching a timeline to things. I'm attaching all of these sort of negative belief systems about myself. I'm battling against doubt and fear and all these things. And so I really realized I had to dig deep and be like, who do I want to become? I want to become a successful woman. I want to become a woman that leaders look to and say, how do I fix this? What do I do about this? How do I handle this conflict resolution? How do I do these things? I wanted to be a successful woman that had so much money in her bank account that she was able to buy rentals and invest her money and bless widows in my community like crazy. I had to become that woman and think like that woman before I saw the fruit of it. And that 100% was true for me. God did not just rain manna from heaven and be like, you're now diamond, because everybody died. You know, it's like, I'm like Job over here. Everybody leaving. Like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. I'm doing all the things. I had to change here. I had to change my thoughts to really become the person who could see the vision. Because if you're just sort of walking along doing the things, you're just taking a walk. You're not climbing the mountain. You're not seeing it and feeling it. You're not drinking the raw eggs in the morning and running every day and training like you want to become a champion. I started to train like a champion of plexus. I started to study. I started to learn my craft. I started to learn and understand leadership. I decided I would not be a complainer because they're not obtainers. I didn't want to be a whiner. I wanted to be a winner. So I would not whine. I would not complain anymore. I had to make that decision because I sat there at Emerald. I sat there at Sapphire. I sat there at Ruby before my husband ever died. I'm like, I'm supposed to be seeing Ruby, but only 7 people joined my team this month. What happened? But it's not about what you're seeing. It's about who you're becoming. Okay, what do I do in the face of that? Do I shut down? Do I just complain? Do I say how hard things are? Do I tell my husband, oh, I gotta get on another call? It's so frustrating, it's so annoying. Or are we becoming a woman who does not complain, does not whine, is successful and is seeing fruit, because before she even saw it, which is faith, before she even saw it, she believed it to be true. And when you believe something to be true, I promise you, you are absolutely unstoppable. Because even when my husband died, my mom died, my dad died, you never saw me calling Jennifer Leith and being like, I can't do this. Sorry, I can't post, I can't run my team call, I can't do this stuff. Why? Because my heart wouldn't let me. My vision wouldn't let me. Rocky couldn't ask somebody else to train for him and be like, okay, then I'll go into the ring and I'll fight. Thank you for training for me. Jennifer Leith cannot run my business. My downline cannot run my business, right? I have to train to become who I want to become. And what I see the most is we have lack of clarity. We have lack of clarity of where we want to go. It's much safer and easier to constantly tell ourselves, well, I'm just going to shoot for Ruby this month. I'm going to shoot for Senior Gold this month. I'm going to keep on shooting for it until I hit it. When really it's the clarity of I'm becoming a diamond. I'm becoming a diamond. I'm going to start focusing like a diamond. I'm going to start showing up like a diamond. I'm going to start hosting power hours like a diamond. I'm going to be doing the things a diamond does so that I can get to diamond. You don't all of a sudden magically start doing something different when you hit a certain rank. And what I see is when we actually are coming and operating from a place of doing, our points go backwards. Because then when you can't keep up the doing, because we haven't become it, is this making sense? I know this is a lot, but it's who we need to become. It's the heart, it's the vision, it's a no excuse, absolutely no negotiation. This is happening. It's not a wish. It's not a if this works. It's a, I would go down to the Walmart and talk to people if I had to. I've literally had people say, I can't make it to the sip and see. I'm like, no problem. Where are you? They're like, we're at the laundromat. I've literally done a sip and see in the laundromat. Signed up 3 people in the laundromat before. Why? I didn't just wake up one morning and be like, I'm going to go to the laundromat and sign up people, because that's what I have to do. I was becoming it. An opportunity was opening itself to me. Doors will open that you never saw open. I want you to picture your very best day you've had in Plexus. Your very best day. The day where Sally Joe messaged you out of the blue and she's like, I want to join your team. I've been watching you forever. The day maybe where you were ranking up and your team is rallying for you. And they're ordering and they're helping people order and they're excited and you're excited. That is a vibration. That is a thought. That is a feeling of becoming that person. And then we want to stop it because it feels scary. So we put a lid back on it. And we're like, okay, hold up. That's only for 24 hours. That's all you get. And then we try to say, what am I doing wrong? I'm here to say, maybe it's not what you're doing or not doing. Maybe it's what you're thinking or not thinking. Maybe it's what you're becoming or not becoming. I want you to become a runner, not run a race. I want you to become a diamond, not just hit your next rank. Because when you become a diamond, you're in it for the long haul. You're in it for when Emerald comes really fast and Sapphire might come slow. You're in it for when your leaders are great and happy and just full of life, and you're in it when people are really struggling. So I've been practicing this new thing where when people sign up with me, because I am a type 3 Enneagram, it's really hard for me to slow down and be like, thank you for your order. Like, genuinely, thank you for trusting me with your order. And it inspired me, this TikTok, this ridiculous TikTok, this mom gave her son $1 bill and he loses his mind. Like, he's just like, $1. And he's dancing around. She said, what if we rejoiced over every dollar we earned like that? And I thought, what if I rejoiced over every soul that I'm blessed and humbled to have joined my team like that? instead of focusing on why aren't they building a business? Why aren't they doing this? Why are they ghosting me? Why are they, right? We love to focus on everything that's going wrong because our ego is like, oh, this keeps us safe. So if we start focusing on, wow, what a gift, what a blessing. I'm so thankful for this person who's joined. I'm thankful for the 129 followers I have on Facebook. I'm thankful for each and every single one of you. You show up, you like a post every once in a while. Like, I'm appreciative of what I have. That's how we become a diamond. And sitting down and focusing on that, how I become this. Because I promise you this, and I'll wrap this up because I know I'm over 30 minutes already, but what happens is, like, when I first started, you would die. Okay. Literally, my first video, I'm nursing a baby and I'm milking a cow at the same time. No joke. And I have the countryest accent you've ever heard. Jennifer Lee told me, she was, but you're from Canada. I was like, I know. Something weird happens. I get nervous and I'm like, hey, y'all, this is how you go silver. Like, that's literally how I sound. Like, I'm so nervous. I'm just saying stuff. Like, it doesn't even make sense. But I put it out there. I was just like, here we go. Like, I'm doing this. Like, I'm so excited. I'm just going to do it. You do things messy and imperfect when you're excited, when you're passionate. It trumps anything else. The first person who called me and she's like, okay, well, what's plexus? Not a word of a lie. I hung up the phone because I panicked, because I'm like, I don't freaking know how to explain what plexus is. Like, how do you even explain it? I hung up on her. My late husband's like, you're the worst person ever. Like, what is happening? I'm like, I know. So I call her back, straight up lie. I'm like, the phone, the service, I don't know what happened. And then I'm like, I'm going to send you a video. And in that moment of awkwardness, frustration, fear, doubt, I learned something. Video is going to be my second language. I'm going to use it. I don't have to explain things that I don't want to, right? I can't explain to you the compensation plan in a beautiful way. You know, Jennifer Lee can explain the product. She's a biology teacher. She's amazing at it. And I'm like, it helps with your inflammation. And I get this country accent. I'm so weird. And I'm thinking, what is happening to me? But I'm willing to do it awkward. I'm willing to do it uncomfortable. I'm willing to do it messy. For all my perfectionists out there, perfection is 100%. Perfectionism is self-sabotage. If you keep telling yourself, I've got to be perfect to be diamond, come hang out with me and Jen Lee for a hot minute and you'll be like, dang, like, if they can do it, so can I. And that's what I want you to know, is that no matter what happens, because life is going to happen, no matter what's happening, whether it's a job loss, whether it's you're having to start taking care of your parents, whether you feel spread thin or not, when you have a vision and a hope of more, of realizing what an extra income could do for you, to help you, to bring all these extra people in to be a help to you, and you're blessing them with your income to pay them for things, you start to realize this is worth it. I will find the time to become this person that I want to become. And so I want to end with this, is that I wrote out that whole vision statement with Tara Castaneda at the thing. She probably doesn't even know this. And I still have it. And I wrote down that I want to be married, I want to have another baby, and I want to build my dream house. I'm literally living out exactly what I wrote down. And it was literally almost 5 years to the date. And the people that I wrote down are the people that are with me. Okay. And I want to talk real quick about one particular person. She had quit. She was a senior gold on my team and she quit. She went to go into full-time ministry. She's just like, I just can't do it. She came back year 5 and went emeralds, from gold points to emeralds, in about 5.5, 6 months. I'm telling you, when you become and you think positive, like, she's going to come when she's ready. I'm going to bless her. I'm going to love her. I'm going to cheer her on. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to continue to build my business. I'm not going to let it slow me down. I'm not going to let it take me down. I'm not going to let it bring me to my knees. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to trust my guide, because I'm here to hike to the top of the freaking mountain. I'm not here to get up halfway and then walk back down. What's the point of that? I want to keep going. So even if I have to camp out on the side of the mountain for a minute, Even if I walk around the mountain for a minute, that's okay. But I want my destination at the top of the mountain, who I need to become, is more experienced of a climber, right? Because I've learned some things along the way. I've learned to trust my coach, right? I've learned to realize, well, like when the storms hit, it's really real. Like I've got to be prepared. Like you learn things and you become more of an experienced climber as you hit the top. The diamond is just more experienced in rejection, in no's, in learning to keep on going. Be a resilient person, be an example to your community, be an example to your team, impact the world. I know you guys can. You're the best leaders on the planet. And I'm just super honored and humbled. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope it made sense.
I have so many questions. First of all, where do I find the nursing and cow milking video? I just for research purposes, I feel like I should watch that.
Yes.
Listen, you're so brilliant. I want to point out, you said Leith basically had to harass you for 18 months. Sometimes we take people at their word. They say, I'm never going to do this. And we think, okay, they're never going to do this. And I adore Jen for not believing you. Like she heard you, she related, she handled objections, she was patient, she built relationships, but she never believed you. Like she was always like, okay, well, if she ever decides to do this, oh, here's what would make her great. And she just kept telling you, like you know.
I actually even ordered and returned it before I tried it the first time.
That does also not surprise me. Yeah. Well, I know like Michelle left hers on the counter. Fallon left hers on the counter for weeks. I mean, so it's just so normal. Again, we'll take somebody and say, okay, well, they didn't even use their products. They'll never do this. Not true. Not true. I also love that she bought a cow from you. That cracks me right up. Like, what do I have to do to become this girl's friend? I'm gonna buy her cow. Brilliant. I also want to point out, it's really easy to look at someone's story like yours on the back end and think, well, of course she showed up that way. Like, look at her life. But what you guys have to remember is the showing up daily was before there was the guarantee of the next husband, before the guarantee of success. Like there was no one saying, Alita, I promise I'm going to bless you with another husband. I'm going to bless you with more kids. And this is all going to work out magically. She had to believe that. There was no one that was giving her that guarantee. And sometimes we think, well, if someone could just guarantee for me that this would work out, of course I'd be willing to do all the work. The thing is though, high performers, high achievers, they choose to believe that enough. And that is what can sustain them. Sometimes they're the only ones who believe it. So I loved that. And then the last thing I wrote down a whole page of notes, by the way, on green construction paper, because that's my life. But you said I showed up as who I wanted to be and where I wanted to be, not who I currently was, where I currently was. And I think that is extremely powerful because we'll think, well, when I'm a diamond, then I'll talk to that dream team, or when I'm a senior gold, or when I'm a whatever we make the deciding factor, when really we have the potential to feel and think exactly like that right now. So I adore you. I loved this even more than I thought I would. I'm a huge fan for life always. Can't wait to hear you sing at convention. You're my favorite.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me, you guys.
Have the best time at Disneyland. Tell your baby happy birthday.
I will. Bye, y'all.
Bye.